I'm loving this.
The broadcast is live.
All right, now
Oh,
it's perfect.
We are all set. Thank you so much for joining me back on VCTV, the Venture Capital TV from LATOKEN. As you all know, thanks for joining me back, Vandana, William, Harsh, and Karthik. So today we're going to discuss about today we're discussing today we're going to discuss smart cities and digital economy. So the concept of smart city has been discussed for more than a decade now, and both the promises and expectations have been high. Around the world, thousands of cities and their residents have been transforming the way they work with varying degrees of success. But what makes some cities successful and other cities not, like Mumbai, sorry, which services deliver real value to people and which ones are technical ego projects? We have learned a lot and the technical landscape has changed. So what was new that is now mature? So let's just, it's not a new topic. We've discussed on many VCTV episodes and we've been discussing this over a decade now. So let's start with the definition. What makes a city smart? Before that, sorry, I forgot. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sunny Mohanty. I'm the regional director of LATOKEN. So LATOKEN hosts VCTV. I've been hosting this since last year because of the pandemic. And since then, we've grown in terms of our viewerships, the community of investors, and startups. So that's me. I'm going to start with another round of introductions of our speakers for those who are probably, joining us for the first time, or for those viewers who are joining us for the first time. So let's start with Vandana. Hi, Vandana. Welcome back to VCTV. Can you help introduce yourself?
yeah. Hi, Sunny. Thanks for having me back here. And, it's always a pleasure to be back on Latokon VCTV. And hi to all the panelists out here. This is Vanna Tolani signing in from India. I was in Singapore and Jakarta for 15 years in investment banking. I had my own family office fund there. This is my sixth year back in India. I did some investments, then I went back to advisory. Currently, I'm connected with 200 investors globally. That includes PEs, VCs, angels, and HNIs. We are a global entity. We do $1 million to $25 million. We are sector agnostic, so feel free to reach out to us. My company name is Convanto, and thank you for having me here.
Sure. Thank you, Vandana, for that intro. Next, I have William Dew. Hi, William. Anybody? Okay, put yourself on mute. Better. William, not you. You are on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
Hi, good evening all. I'm William Du from Engineers House, Kuala Lumpur. I'm involved in financial services, and due to the pandemic, we are also into sustainable business now. I'm involved in vertical farm, solar energy, and also planning to build a sustainable and smart city. I look forward to share with all of you tonight. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, William. Hush. Welcome back.
Hey, Swami, glad to be back and with familiar faces. Karthik, Vandana, William. I've done so many sessions with them. Glad to have them back as well. So, just a short bio about myself. My name is Harsh Shetia. Currently working as a venture partner with our ventures, and I founded a Facebook group for startup hackers. We've reached 600 members in less than 2 months. So, seeing very quick growth over there, helping all these startups grow. At the same time, we are helping a lot of startups raise funds as well. We do up to $10 million of funds for a lot of startups, and currently working with 5 mandates. Two of them based in New York, primarily in medical devices as well. So if any startup needs any help, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harsh, and welcome back again. Last but not least, we have Karthik. Hi, Karthik. Good to see you back. How are you?
Thank you so much. And it's a desire to see everybody around once again after a long time, maybe. It's my episode number 85th for all of you. Along with VCTV, I represent a couple of family houses based out of UK, which is the Gridley from Yorkshire and the Andrew family. I also represent a couple of venture funds based out of Qatar and Saudi, which are primarily into early stage and Series B funding in health tech, fintech, and edutech spaces. Disclaimer is a couple of investments in the edutech space that I've already taken it to Series B. So that's what I do. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, we are done with introductions of our of all the speakers. I think I hear some kind of background noise. I think. Yes. Thank you for putting yourself on mute. So we're going to talk about smart city today. So let's start with what's a smart city and what's the KPI of a smart city, the key performance indicators. Like, how do you know that the city is a smart? Let's start with Vandana. Vandana, let's start with you.
So, after a decade of experimentations, smart cities are entering a new phase. Smart cities add digital intelligence to existing urban systems, making it possible to do more with less. Connected applications put a real-time, transparent information into the hands of users to help them make better choices. These tools can save lives, prevent crimes, and reduce the disease burden. They can save time, reduce waste, and even help boost social connectedness when cities function more efficiently. They also become more productive places to do business. Now, technology is being injected more directly into the lives of residents. Smartphones have become the keys to the city, putting instant information about transit, traffic, health services, safety alerts, and community news into millions of hands. And after a decade of trials and error, municipal leaders are realizing that smart city strategies start with people, not with technology. Smartness is not just installing, digital interferences, traditional infrastructure, or streamlining city operations. It's about using technology and data purposefully to make better decisions and deliver a better quality life. This is what I feel, should be a smart city.
Yeah, of course.
Um,
Yeah, sure. Go on. Sorry.
and as technology progresses, our lifestyles evolve. Every day, technology becomes more, pervasive in our lives. And now it's becoming normal to live in a smart city, a city which gathers data using electronic sensors so that we can more efficiently manage resources and services. This improves the quality of life for its citizens, and efficiency usually leads to better quality. For example, now there are automatic cameras to catch drivers speeding, sending them tickets, if they really drive fast. This discourages them from speeding and improves the experience of drivers around them. And another way technology has affected our life is, I remember when demonetization had come into India, we all got the shock of our life, and we really didn't know what to do next. Only when we pushed ourselves to use Paytm, Google Pay, Phone Pay, PayPal, and all these other measures to transfer money, we found it the most easiest way, to do this. And now we travel cashless. I see the vegetable vendor using it, the milkman using it, and everybody is so used to it now. Similarly, when lockdown came in, many people didn't know how to use Zoom, AirMeet, Microsoft Teams, and all these other platforms. Eventually, when they learned it, even the teachers, investors, the promoters, they found it that this is a much easier way to finish work faster. I mean, look at us, we are connect from all over the world. We can speak to each other. We can have events like how LATOKEN has events, and finish our work much faster and efficiently. So I think this is what is really important in a smart city.
I think Vandana very rightly said, very right points. I think the pandemic also has accelerated the smartness of a city to a larger extent as well.
Yeah.
You said the all the vegetable vendors in India going using wallets like digital wallets is just an example after demonetization. I think. Thank you so much for those opening remarks, William. Let's come to you with the definition of a smart city. By the way, William, are you living in a smart city right now?
No, I'm sort of living in a smart home, which wasn't really smart. Sometimes I have connection problem. When it rains, somehow my internet speed will drop. Okay, so Vandana actually defined the smart city already, so I'm not going to repeat. Okay, she has really, really brilliant definition of it. From my perspective, because I'm planning to build a 10 million square feet city. right? So from my perspective is, how do I attract buyers? How do I attract people to come and live in my city? Okay, so for consumer, they are very demanding now, because every developer is trying to load them with gadgets, tools. Okay, there's a lot of technology. Okay, you can track basically everybody coming in and out of the city, thereby increase the security. But everybody is doing that now. So how are we different, right? How are we going to prove that we are different? Like, so what we are planning to do now is, how do we improve human lives? Okay, if you move into our city, what can you expect? All right, from your health, your healthcare and your wellness, from your F&B. All right, how do you consume your food? All right, how convenient you are in terms of logistics. Is it connected to train? All right, is it connected to transportation hub? All right, so all this has to be integrated. All right, so if some is one feel that they are comfortable, they are safe, of course they want to live in that city, right? So if you look at Singapore, right, I think if you ask me, Singapore is considered quite an advanced smart city, right? So although I live in a smart home, but actually it's just gadgets driven, but I don't feel any improvement in my life, right? Except to pay more bills. All right, I'm not speaking. Thank you.
So you're building one for yourself. So you live in a smart home, but not in a smart city. So you're actually a part of a project building a smart city, right?
Yes, correct. Because the what I have is the aircon is centrally controlled. So we have one. I have one big compressor that power 7 to 8 aircons in the house. All right. So we have a panel, and of course the broadband connect to our house, and then we can wire up the house. I think that's the smartest thing that they can provide already. So technically, consumer are still not aware what really is a smart home, right? I'm sure our panel can share later. Thank you.
Yeah. Actually got a problem. Sorry. I think Karthik got thrown off. The StreamYard got blocked for some reason. Very unfortunate. He can't join the session, because but he was very eager, as we know, to participate. I don't know if there is any way to get him back, but let's see if he can get back. So yeah, so we lost one speaker, but anyways, let's continue. Harsh, over to you.
Yeah. So definitely, like taking the discussion on the smart cities, right? Obviously, normally the assumption, if when you talk about smart cities, how do we create new smart cities where you have an integrated infrastructure for healthcare, for finance, where you centrally manage everything through a single card, right? That is essentially what smart cities look like. So just to give an example, there are two current projects in Gujarat, Vadodara and Surat, which are in the government plan of converting into a smart city, where they are planning to build a lot of infrastructure over there in terms of healthcare facilities, financial facilities, setting up ATMs at strategic locations, as well as creating a centralized data card which will be accessible across all the platforms. So that card, it will look like a regular credit card, but it is going to be omnifunctional. It's going to be useful everywhere. It will create all your records. It can be used for transport services, buses or railways or whatever might be the case. It's going to be applicable. It's going to be a centralized identity at the same time, all at the single point, right? So a situation like this actually creates one more conundrum in regards to the amount of data that is there, right? How much data that the government gets access to? That is a huge problem in today's day and age, when security people are increasingly starting to take things about cyber security in mind. What kind of security infrastructure is there? As also the privacy element is there, right? How much information about ourselves are we divulging to the government through these smart city projects? So that is another point which we really need to think about carefully when we really look into the smart city element of it, right? That you need to ensure that not only is the data secure, the individual privacy is maintained as well at the same time. So these are some of the elements which really need to be taken into consideration when you're building a smart city project. Additionally, if you look at it, it's not just about creating new smart cities, right? You have existing cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, etc., who are these huge metro cities, and they've been built over the last 70, 80 years, and they have a lot of huge infrastructure, right? How do we pivot from the existing urban structure model into a newer smart city model? That is also going to be a huge part of the strategic plan, because we can't just focus on creating new cities. These cities, these gigantic cities, they're they are as populous as some of the major countries outside, right? Mumbai has like 1.2 cr people, which is as big as most countries out there. So how do you kind of bring that kind of urban planning, town planning to an established city like Mumbai? How do you replan and restructure the entire system where people don't have to travel 1 hour, 1.5 hours just to get to work on a daily basis? You need to rethink the entire urban planning, the entire town planning, to ensure that you don't have right now this work from home environment has created exactly that, right? People are
Yeah.
no longer dependent on public transport systems. You don't have to travel like an hour or 2 hours just to get to work on a daily basis. It saves tremendous amount of time, tremendous amount of resources, and definitely minimizes a lot of wasteful pollution, right? So we need to completely rethink through those elements as well. It is Technology is a huge element of it, it's a part of it. At the same time, we need to completely reimagine how we are thinking about our cities, right? We can't have the entire the urban area concentrated at one point. Then you have the suburbs where people are staying and they have to constantly do to and fro, back and forth between the suburb to the city just to go to work on a daily basis. We need to rethink through all of that and create a much more sustainable and a much more economic and nature friendly kind of a format where everyone beneficial in the longer run.
Very good points, all of you. Thanks, Harsh, for sharing that. I just wanted to go into deep into the tech side, but we're going to come to that later. I just want to know why we need smart cities first of all. Like, why do we need smart cities and how to measure the smartness of the city? Vandana?
See, it is really, really, important to have a technology, important to have a smart city. Uh, First is the technology base, which includes a critical mass of smartphones and other sensors connected by high speed communication networks as well as open data portals. Sensors take constant readings of variables such as traffic flow, energy consumption, air quality, and many other aspects of daily life and put all the information on the fingertips of those who need it.
Right.
So, we are living in a digital world. It is very, very important to have a smart city because, it is really required in today's times. The second layer consists of specific applications, translating raw data into alerts, insight, and action requires the right tools. And this is where technology providers and app developers come in. Perhaps the best way, to grasp what a smart city can be is to look at a full sweep currently available applications. Tools are available in multiple domains in terms of security, mobility, health, energy, water, waste, economic development, and housing, and engagement and community. And the third layer is the public usage. Many applications succeed only if they are widely adopted and are able to manage to change behaviors. A number of them put individual users to the driver's seat by giving them more transparent information that they can use to make better choices. I mean, look at the amount of apps that we have, uh, on our phone itself. And when we travel by metros in India, also, especially in Gurgaon, they are pretty much safe. They have cameras. I have forgotten my laptops in the metros many times and got it back just because they had those security features. So in India, is the government is focusing on building 100 smart cities, and it has created a lot of buzz here. We are, it is a welcome move for countries and states to think that in this direction and ensure that better citizen services in the digital economy, which are going to soon unfold. I've also seen, once the smart city comes in, there'll be a lot of, especially for old citizens who are living alone. It is really going to help them and, solve a lot of health issues as well.
Do you think that urbanization has led to this creation of a smart city? Because a lot of people are moving to the cities. Because do you think because of the of that factor, we need that infrastructure to accommodate all those people in a city.
Yes, yes, of course. Look at it this way: when COVID came in, people were going back to the villages, the ones who had come to the cities to find work. If only their villages were converted into these smart cities, they would get much more better employments, and they would not have the need to travel to larger cities in search of employment. So I think that has really pushed everybody to have these kind of cities wherein people could get more employments. It could be more digitized in terms of mobiles, in terms of everything on their fingertips basically.
Absolutely, great points there. William, coming over to you. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Vandana has partly explained why do we need smart cities. How do you measure the smartness of a city?
Okay, the how to measure is a very difficult answer very difficult to answer. But what I have, I actually visited the Huawei Smart City Center in Malaysia. Okay, so Huawei has actually implemented the smart city infrastructure in several cities in China. Okay, so when I was there, in front of me is probably a big wall or all screens. All right, so I sit down in the middle. So in front of me is actually one of the city that they actually highlighted. All right, so with the dashboard on his palm, okay, it's like a tablet. All right, he can actually move around, and so what he showcased me is, all right, at this moment from this view in this area, they can show the climate, they can estimate how many people are in there. All right, if they zoom out, they can see the traffic flow. Right, so they can actually measure how to actually manage those congestion, because any city in China is actually very populated. Okay, because of urbanization, everybody actually moving into city, right? So the resources that in a city are not enough to actually sustain the heavy population, right? So for example, if the city has a lot of manufacturing or industrial around them, right? The consumption of energy in the daytime is so much that probably in 10 years ago they need to do the energy rotation, right? To actually so I've been to Hilton Beijing once, and 6 hours there's no electricity. I can't on aircon, right? Because of that. But that was many years ago, right? And nowadays they have actually managed it. Okay, so how to make the city more sustainable? They use a lot of solar, a lot of course, the big dam, right? So if you look at Singapore, is also very well managed because Singapore resources are scarce, right?
Yeah.
Same like India. I think India has the most smart city in the world, right? When I do research, all the India city pops out. Why? That's because there's of urbanization, the resources are imbalanced, right? The rural area will have less people, but who's going to work on the farm? Who's going to work on the industrial, right? So everybody goes to the city, and the city can't take it in terms of food safety, food security, right? So if you look at food security, okay, Singapore only produce less than 5% of whatever food you consume now. That's why Singapore government is trying to do 30 by 30, right? But in terms of food security, Singapore is number one in the world. All right. Malaysia, unfortunately, is probably like 20 something, 30, right? So there's still, in Malaysia, is still very far behind, but we are very good at building buildings. I think this year alone, we probably have the world tallest or second tallest building up. I think we have three of those, right? But it doesn't mean that we have this, if you build infrastructure, it means smart, right? Traffic congestion is at its worst. Whenever it rains, we get flooded. But we are smart. Our government is very smart. They actually dig a tunnel called Smart Tunnel. So when it rains, the water is supposed to be channeled there. But with the Smart Tunnel, it still floods. Okay. So how do you define smart city, right? All right. It's actually, you have to be integrated, all right, in terms of the balance of the population. How do you measure it? Okay. And For example, the usage of energy, right? In I think we are over. I mean, all the cities in the world overuse energy. That's why you can see the grid, and the grid infrastructure is actually very old, right? The grid is built probably 20, 30, 40 years ago. So they can't take it such a surge in the usage, right? We talk about electric vehicles, right? But we need electric to charge the vehicle. So how do we get the electric to charge the vehicle, right? I attended one meeting. They said that they built big diesel plant to charge the electric to produce the electric, right? So I think David brought out that. Okay, so I think smart city has to be balanced, okay, in terms of how they utilize the resources, okay, so that people in the city will feel more comfortable, all right, and it also relates to the digital economy, right? Everything is on your palm now, as Vandana say. So everything is managed from a palm. We can get information if there's an accident nearby. If you use Waze, you know, right? But
Yeah.
not everyone use the same thing. So if I think a smart city will happen when everyone is connected to a single app and all the information are channeled to that single app, right? Right. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's the end goal of a smart city. All are plugged into one app. Harsh, your insights?
Yeah, so definitely the points which Vandana and William mentioned, right? The current cities, the current town planning which it was done, right? You have big countries like in India, US, UK. You have most of the economy being focused on these top 10 major cities. We do like which do like 80 to 90% of the economy, run 80 to 90% of the economy of the country. It's completely unsustainable model, right? You have people coming from all the parts of India and just congregate in these small cities, and it creates a lot of completely inhabitable environments for majority of the people, right? You look at these kind of people, they live in slums, they create these desolate areas, which is completely impractical, right? That is why if you can create these kind of smart cities, like at least have like 20 to 50 smart cities spread across the country, probably in some lesser developed states in the country like Orissa or Jharkhand or UP or MP, etc., those areas, right? The amount of people who come over here will be significantly reduced. At the same time, they can enjoy a better standard of living, staying close with their family and friends and family back home, right? So that is how the entire infrastructure is going to be. And additionally, what will happen is those members of the economy which are right now till date have been kind of away from the economy whatsoever. So if you look at it, people will say that India is an economy of 125 CR people, right? But in reality, the primary focus is only in the top 10, 20 major cities, which is around 20-25 CR. The remaining 100 CR is till date been they haven't gotten access to that, and they are not an effective part of the economy, right? So once you have these smart cities and spread across the country, across different states, these people will be actively involved in the economy in terms of creating more value, creating more resources, at the same time consuming more resources, and that will automatically mean the growth in the economy and the growth in the GDP, which we have been stagnating for the past few years. That is exactly the problem all major economies of the world have been facing, the stagnating GDP growth, right? Once you have these smart city infrastructures developed in the tier 2, tier 3 cities of all the major countries, it will completely take up the GDP growth, which has never been seen before. And to add to William's point, right, it's primarily in terms of infrastructure, right? If you have everyone coming towards the cities in terms of job opportunities to get money, right, who's actually going to be going into the farms and doing the work to actually create the food? Turns out people will at the end up having more money and less food to eat that money, and then that food itself will become expensive, and you won't be able to afford that food. So an economy is like a complete virtuous cycle, and each and everyone has to play its respective role. There have to be a people who have to do agriculture, there have to be healthcare people who have to do the nurses. Not
Yeah.
everyone can become a doctor. We need the nurses, we need the cleaners, we need the matrons to do their job, we need the farmers to do their job, we need the manufacturers to do their job, we need the workers to do their job. An economy is a holistic cycle. We can't have certain areas of the economy, certain job profiles are getting disproportionately high earnings, and certain areas getting disproportionately low earnings. We cannot have that. It has to be a centralized, it has to be more feasible. That is how a sustainable economy is structured, and that opportunity is what smart city can provide.
Yeah. Very well summarized, Harsh. Really great points there. Thank you so much. I think Karthik is still struggling. I've been little, so I'm just looking at his messages as well. He's very eager to join, but he can't join. unfortunately. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So, I think talking about startups, what is the advantage for startups in the tech companies in the tech space to be a part of the smart cities? How what kind of benefits does it bring to startups? Vandana, over to you.
A lot of benefits. I mean, a startup in a smart city gets a lot of benefits in terms of technology, in terms of the kind of backing that they get. Look at the kind of media apps that we have. Say, for instance, Netflix. Just look at a simple app like Netflix. Netflix has done wonders in COVID time because everybody was so free. Movie theaters were closed. I mean, I used to go to watch a movie every week before. And COVID made me learn Netflix. I mean, how to use Netflix, how to use Alexa, how to use all these devices. So any startup will really benefit from the smart cities because they'll have the technology backing. Not only that, there'll be a lot of support from each and every government to have a better smart city. I have seen, I had gone to one of the offices the other day. They have built this special app for old people, where they can get help immediately on the press of a button. So the button is going to always be near them. They just have to press a button to get assistance in terms of medication, in terms of emergency. So their lives could be secured that way. There are many old people staying alone,
Yeah.
and they need the support system, they need emergency help, so that kind of those kind of apps where you can just press a button and get help, and you can have somebody to talk to you every day, especially in your old times. So I think these are really upcoming. Not only that, we could have smart cinema theaters as well. And maybe we could travel to cities smartly, in terms of uh, going physically. We could actually virtually see those cities and have fun as well. So a lot is going to change, but how much of is it going to be safe in terms of data breach, in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of how much information is passed out? Even if I change my phone, for instance, I can get my data back because of Google has that backing feature. But wherever I am, I don't know how safe it is that people watch me on TV, I'm moving around, maybe I'm posting something on Insta, something on Facebook, so where is the privacy? So I think there somewhere we need to restrict in terms of controlling the traffic. Here also we have cameras. The drivers are being caught every day if they speed up. So I think that is a good safety measure to stop, accidents being happening frequently. And we have metros over here with smart cards. So that has made our life efficient. I think that's there in Singapore also, but it is nothing compared to Singapore. But still, we are learning. So we have food delivery apps. I'm a working mother. So I just order everything online because where's the time to go and physically buy things anymore? So Amazon is there. Then we have supermarket delivery apps which help us, deliver our groceries, and we have a lot of cloud kitchens, which are giving a lot of support to women. So they can cook foods, at home, get some income and sell it on the cloud kitchen. So I think these kind of technologies are there in India. We have a lot of AI, we have a lot of machine learning. Nothing compared to Singapore and USA, but we are getting there. We are almost 100 smart cities, and 53,000 crores have been invested in these smart cities. So I think startups are definitely going to get a lot of support. Yeah.
Thank you, Vandana. But you know what William just said before this? Like every time he Googles or searches for smart city, India pops up.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. So, William, so what advantage, because you are also part of a project who is into the smart city initiative in Malaysia. So, what kind of advantages do you see that brings to the startup um, for being a part of this project?
Right. There's a lot of components in the smart city. Okay, if we talk about IoT, right? Most smart city now they want to integrate healthcare, education, right? Logistics, grocery, for example, how to get delivered, like Brenda mentioned. Okay, so there's a lot of super app now. I'm sure Singapore also has Grab, right? If you open your Grab app, you basically can function, can buy pharmacy, can buy grocery, can get cars, right, and deliver stuff,
Yeah.
right? So I used to remember when we need to deliver urgent documents, right? We need to print out the documents, go to a place, and then deliver to the post office nearby, right? But now with the app, with what 10, 15 ringgit, right? I don't have to drive all the way myself, right? So these are all the super apps, okay, that people are very adapted to now, or addicted as well, right? So sometimes, for example, if I look at the Grab app, sometimes the food are actually cheaper with the promotion on, right? So come back to smart city. How does all these integrated into the smart city? All right. So the super app has to be part of the smart city ecosystem, right? In Malaysia, there's an app called My Sejahtera where we scan the barcode whenever we go, all right? So to track COVID, right? So in that app, we'll know that, okay, what's the statistic yesterday? And also we'll know that people nearby us, whether they have any COVID cluster around us, okay, within certain kilometer. So if we know that through the app, we will not go to that area,
Right.
and usually that is live, right? But this is all these apps are separate; they don't talk to each other. So I need to on many apps to find different information, right? And when the government want to do announcement, they do it on Facebook now. All right. So I think smart city, whether is it can be by area, it can be by district, it can be by state. We need to access information from one uniform platform. All right, so that we can know, okay, there's a traffic congestion. All right, if I don't on Waze or Google Map, I won't know there's a traffic congestion. Right, but how do the app know that I'm moving? All right. So technically, if I step out of my home, like in China, when you step out of home, all the TV are looking at you, all the digital camera, right? So if you are a criminal, you can't run away now. All right. Crime rate in China has gone down so much because there's so many millions of camera around. You can't hide, you can't run unless you run. Okay. So because of that, the safety for people, for the citizens, are actually guaranteed, right? Because everybody knows that if you try to create a crime, okay, you'll be watched everywhere, all right? And talk about the smart city as well. The camera will be able to detect whether you throw rubbish or not. All right. If you throw rubbish, okay, on the street, if the camera pick up because of face recognition, all right, they will remember you. All right. And I think China has been very advanced. If you use, I think Alipay, okay, you can just put your face on the screen, and you don't even need to take out your phone, right? And imagine that your face is recorded already, right? So everywhere you go, all right, you'll be. I mean, there will be. I remember my friend told me he went to a Tencent talk on IoT. Basically, other than they put a chip into your body, basically, as long as you walk out from your home with or without your mobile, as long as your face are once recorded, they have a record of you. right? And China introduced a citizen point. If you throw rubbish, they'll minus point. If you beat a red light, you'll get your points will get deducted. So all these are integrated to the database, so that the all the citizens within the city knows that they are being watched. Okay, of course, people can argue about privacy. I think most will agree that because of smart city, they feel safer, right? Like
Yeah.
when they say if you lost something or you left something in a train, because CCTV is everywhere. Even if you want to take that parcel of the bag, you also think twice because everybody is watching you around, right? So I think smart cities objective is to improve human life. So now is how do we actually adapt and use it, all right? Thank you.
I think great points there, William. I think between privacy and safety, I personally would choose safety. I might be monitored, tracked, but if it comes with an expense of, like, if I'm like feeling safe in my country or city I live in, like Singapore, I think nothing beats that, honestly. Thank you so much, William. Harsh, over to you.
Yeah. So some of the points which William mentioned, it actually kind of scared me to never going to China because it's kind of sounds like a surveillance state, and definitely not something I would be looking forward to be a part of. So definitely there are a lot of benefits of having a smart city, and I see a lot of benefits getting startups getting out of that as well. But we need to kind of figure out where do we draw a line, right? If it is like if it's creating like a completely surveillance state kind of situation where it becomes like a Gestapo, then definitely that's pushing it too far. So that's why it becomes a very careful decision where we need to figure out the areas which we can improve upon, the areas which we can facilitate upon, at the same time maintain people's privacy as well, so that's not infringed upon, and there is some sort of element is left as well, that I'm not being watched by someone 24/7, because that can kind of instill a sense of fear as well among the people of the government. And it should always be the other way. The government should be afraid of the people and not the other way around. So that is one thing which we really need to be careful about. On the other side of it, regarding the startups, the benefit out of it, just imagine the growth of fintech which has happened in India. In fact, India is the second largest fintech ecosystem in the world right now, only after USA. And the biggest reason is the single biggest reason which government of India has done, and probably the biggest victory of government India has been UPI. The
Yeah.
UPI system, which was introduced by the government of India, has been absolutely phenomenal, and that has been the reason why fintech in India has completely gone sky high. In fact, one of my friends, he's started two startups in the fintech space. He's exited one startup. He's creating another startup, raising his series A right now. He's been constantly growing, right? So
Yeah.
UPI and that kind of technologies which has been created by the government through the NPCI, they have played a critical role in driving the fintech space, right? So likewise, similar developments can happen in the other space as well, and this will definitely create a lot of opportunities for health tech startups and other technology startups as well. To kind of leverage the government technologies which has been created and create surrounding solutions around that. Use the core solution, the core technology as the benchmark, and create surrounding technologies and make life significantly easier and create a whole value ecosystem. And not to mention the additional benefit that if you create more smart cities, you're expanding your customer base, right? Instead of focusing on the limited customer base that you have right now, you're expanding the customer base which is there. That is obviously going to benefit everyone in the economy, not just startups but even the regular business as well. Even they are going to get benefit out of it. And if you have some more advanced startups who are involved in creating that solution right from scratch, if UPI was created by NPCI, you could actually have some progressive startups who kind of create that base level technology to begin with. Government can kind of reach out, give out tenders. It's pretty obvious that these large institutions like the government and large private institutions, they tend to kind of struggle in creating that kind of innovative tech, right? If they kind of give away that technology tenders to these early stage startups who bid for it and then kind of win that and create those technologies, imagine the amount of opportunities which are there as well. So definitely, if you look at it, the number of opportunities will grow exponentially. When once we have more smart cities developing.
Yeah, very good points. Very good points there, Harsh. Okay. I just want to also mention that we cannot separate technology from anything these days, let alone smart cities. So, what kind kind of new technology or infrastructure trends we see uh, getting deployed as a smart city project? When it comes to a startup, obviously, I'm talking in that respect, technology and infrastructure coming from startups. So maybe we can start with Bandana.
So, I'll tell you two, three small incidents. I was in Singapore once and I got into the smart bus, and I was eating and my mouth was full. And the driver caught me and he said,
You can't eat inside
yeah,
a bus in
so
Singapore.
yeah. So, I mean, so that was, like we will have smart buses. We are already getting a lot of electrical vehicles in India, and we'll have all these coming up soon in the smart cities that are really going to change lives. We have a lot of electric cabs already. And the second incident is, I was in the metro and I was kind of tired and I just left my laptop there happily. And only when I reached home, I realized, oh, it got left. And I just got it back very easily. All I had to do is show my ID card because the cameras had already captured that I had left my laptop in the train, and the driver saw it and the station master saw it. And they even told me that you need to go to this station to collect it. It's already there, we saw it. I think that kind of thing is really going to help us. And in terms of throwing waste, it will really help in India because people throw a lot of waste here there. So I think for them it's really required to have those cameras, so they get caught and and they get fined, so they would stop doing that,
That's
and
good.
it would be more
Yeah,
cleaner India.
very good. Cleaner
uh,
India. I mean, the thing is, clutter. You would tend to eat inside a bus or a metro. You tend to clutter a lot, right? And in a
yeah,
way, it's you're polluting the air around you, right? And it obviously comes to the expense by the government to clean that up, right? So in a
yes,
way, if
yes.
you want a better life, you have to follow certain rules, and that's why we follow rules here. That's why we have a clean life, like better life here in Singapore.
Yeah, yeah. And I had also met with an Uber accident wherein the driver was driving too fast. So I think, these traffic rules that have come up also will save a lot of accidents from being so I think I see a lot of electrical vehicle startups coming up. In terms of technology and infrastructure also, we have already have smart meters in the apartments. We have a gas pipeline. We don't actually need to buy the gas cylinders, so we have a pipe that is connected to the gas. And
Self-light.
yeah, it's already there in the apartment. When we buy a new apartment, you just attach it to your gas stove and just switch on a button and it works. In
Right.
terms of electricity meters, we already have smart meters that have come in here, wherein the electricity bill gets printed out. It's inside your home, and it just gets printed out by the press of a button. So even that has been sorted out, and we have a lot of safety measures here inside the apartments that we are staying already, having cameras. And I've seen the security buyers using tablets, and they are entering and feeding each and every person that's coming in. So I think they have also learned how to use that those tablets, and it has really cut short on their writing work. Each time they had to keep writing in a book how many people came in. So I think these all things are really going to change in the near future. And definitely, I would go with the camera that catches people throwing garbage.
Totally
I,
agree, Vandana. Totally agree. I mean, this is the only way you can, by finding people, by penalizing them. I mean, I'm not saying
yeah.
I mean, you have to keep your city, your place clean, right? So otherwise get
And
penalized.
even women will become more safe because a lot of eve teasing, molesting, and all these other activities that happen in public areas would stop. Because they'll have cameras everywhere. So I think it will become a safer world for women as well. Also, if you see, Singapore is pretty much safe in terms of what do you call, in terms of women's safety. You can even leave your doors open. But in India, we are still learning that. So it's coming. It's not like 100% changed, but definitely, I've traveled in the e-cabs. It's a wonderful ride. And I really enjoy it. I feel light when I sit in those cabs. So I'm looking for more smart buses coming up, like the ones we have in Singapore. And I think we will really change once we adapt to this, that a smart city will bring a smartness in us to also do our work efficiently. Like already we are able to pay our bills online because of apps like
Very good point.
Paytm. And I'm able to do all my billing through my phone. So initially, we had those long queues where we were just standing to fill bills, etc. So I think that has really sorted over here.
Absolutely. That's a very valid point. I mean, smart cities create smart people.
Yeah.
uh, William, William, over to you.
No, I think the smart city should be for normal people because not all people are smart, but because of smart city, because of app, right, they become smarter. So like me, if I want to learn about smart city, right, now I can Google it, and then there's a lot of courses on it, right? So I become smarter because of the accessibility. So I think startups should focus on connectivity. How do you connect your customer to the provider, right? How do you connect the service provider, for example, infrastructure provider? Okay, like for example, now we have Netflix, we have all these paid services, right? And if you ask me 2 years ago, would I pay for Netflix? I would say no, right? Why should I need it, right? But now everybody's stuck at home. Look at Zoom, right? I never subscribed to all these services till COVID started, right? Because that becomes a necessity. Previously, it was like, oh, we'll have it as and when we need it, right? But we won't really go to use it. So I think startups have a lot of opportunity now because work from home is a trend now. I think a lot of big corporates announced that they allow their staff to work from home. I think a few companies actually, I can't remember the names, but they actually encourage their staff to work from home because they realize that they spend more hours on work than and they come to office, right? I think statistics have shown that, right? So this is a very chaotic era, but it's also there's a lot of opportunities, right? Anything can happen. If you look at the crypto space, between the fiat and crypto, there's so much new things happening, right? I'm still trying to figure out what does NFT means. Okay, all right. Before I understand what is DeFi, they're already talking about NFT, right? So I'm sure by days or by weeks something will come out again. So right, and humans are now very open to new ideas, right? Perhaps when you stay at home too long, your mind's open because you spend less time on traffic, on traveling, okay, right? And because you are stuck at home, okay, you know that you need to learn new things to survive, right? And on a big infrastructure side, with the adoption of 5G, everything will speed up, right? If I'm not mistaken, Elon Musk actually start to sell the satellite broadband already. Okay, one of my friends actually pre-order, okay, because at his place it's sort of a blind spot. His connectivity is not good, so he actually subscribed to the satellite service, right? And you can see we all subscribe to different players. Last time when we subscribe, like our TV at home, right? You subscribe to the broadband. For example, in Malaysia is Unify. Then it bundles with TV programs, right? But now nobody ever actually do that anymore. They actually subscribe to what they like. Okay, we can subscribe to Netflix. We can subscribe to Disney Plus from anywhere, right? From a mobile phone, from our phone. So there's so much opportunity, okay, for startups. I think for the future is the infrastructure will be done by the big players, but the intellectual part, the content part, right? to how to make your customer or your client happy, how to make them sticky, right? So these are the where there's so much opportunity for people now, and people are all ready to pay, right? Because of credit card, because of all the wallet, right? And now we can actually there's some exchange that allows Bitcoin payment now, all right? So we can basically buy service from anywhere, all right, as long as we are connected, all right?
Totally,
All right. Thank
absolutely,
you. All right.
absolutely. And again, one more thing I want to add, William. Staying at home,
Mm.
working from home, actually gives makes you more focused on what you want to do. You know,
Yep.
you're actually
Exactly.
distracted by your colleagues. You're distracted by other people around you when you are outside. Like that's the difference. I see a big difference. You're very focused on what you
Yeah,
want.
and meetings are very efficient with Zoom, right?
Very efficient.
Because you don't have to warm up in the meeting. Everybody just get straight to business. No more snacks and drinks in front of you.
Yeah, very efficient actually. Thank you so much.
Right.
Harsh, before we wrap up, your insights about the technology, the new technology, and infrastructure trends for smart cities.
Got it. So primarily, we've already covered the basic infrastructure trends in the fintech and the health tech space, right? You will have like a completely integrated fintech and health tech system where you can have a single payment system across, and a healthcare system where you can structure the entire data all at a single point. The biggest change which I kind of foresee is obviously going to be in terms of the healthcare space, right? There are a couple startups who have kind of reached out to me in kind of building that healthcare infrastructure. So
Right.
essentially, what that's going to look like is you kind of create they are building it on blockchain. Each and every individual's healthcare data will be structured on the blockchain, and they'll have and each and every day, all the hospitals, all the pharmacies, all the diagnostic centers, they'll all have an option to add that data into the healthcare system. So what will happen is effectively everyone will get access to the data, and the end customer which is like me and you and regular people, we can give selective access to the data to whom and whichever that we want, and we at the same time we have an aggregated information as well at the same time, right? So this is some of the interesting and innovative things which I see which are happening, and that is something really exciting, and that is exactly the kind of things which we need to look at and what we should expect in this space. Definitely, the point of video conferencing which William was mentioning definitely has gone a long way, but at the same time I kind of so there are definitely benefits and pros and cons to the current virtual system, right? Obviously it's made us efficient in terms of being able to prioritize our work properly. At the same time, if you're running an organization's culture is defined when you have people at the same time, right? When you have those kind of interpersonal dynamics and that kind of stuff going on. If you remove that part of it, the company's culture kind of loses in a way. And a company's culture is one of those elements which is extremely crucial to kind of ensure a company succeeds. And at the same time, it's not given the due credit, right? Whenever you look at a company success, we look at Zoom or the others, we say they have an incredible product, they have an
Yeah.
incredible growth strategy, they have an incredible, those are all tangible things, but there are a lot of intangibles as well, which are kind of missing out, right? So how do you kind of enforce the company culture? Do people have that kind of relatability? Are they willing to work as a team? Those kind of stuff, right? So I still have to come across how do we do that in a virtual environment, because right now that is actually one of the biggest challenges. So I mentioned regarding my Facebook group, right? This is actually the biggest point which comes across, that people, a lot of the founders are unable to enforce that culture. They are unable to create that sort of culture in the virtual environment. So if we can somehow figure that out, how we can do that virtually, that would be something I think that could potentially be a unicorn if we can
So
create that.
I'm sure somebody is working very quietly and silently on that.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I'm sure.
hopefully people watching it right now, at least some of them starts work on it right now.
Yeah, you've given them a problem statement like a use case. So somebody's
Exactly.
discussing about a solution now. So
Yeah.
great. So when it comes to smart city, we're going to take closing remarks on this question together, plug it together. When it comes to smart cities, we can't separate the government's involvement in a smart city project, right? So why would government uh, incentivize smart cities? I mean, building or incentivizing. So what's in for them? And closing remarks before we wrap up. Vandana.
So I think the fact that 100 smart cities are coming in India, which was an initiative by the government, they see that there's a lot of potential in giving employments to people in the villages, and a lot more education imparted in terms of technology. People would be able to use laptops, handphones, which from the villages itself, which they were not able to do before. Education to the women as to how to, start earning. So I think, government is definitely going to benefit, and hence they are creating these smart cities. And I look forward to many more smart cities, and so that we all can become smart workers. In fact, William had made a very good point. It has reduced the pressure of traveling and reduced the pressure of so many other things like traffic experience, etc. So that makes parents, when they come back home tired, parents do get angry to their kids because they're so frustrated with their workload and pressure. Now with having COVID come in and everything becoming online, I think that pressure has gone also. And for working mothers, it's really beneficial to have a smart city, because at the press of the button she can do everything and she'll be safe and sound. So thank you once again for having me here. This platform is for like-minded people. It's a therapy session. It is a family get-together on LATOKEN TV, and I just love being on the show, especially when you are moderating, Sunny. It makes the session so more lively and fun, making it fun. And I love the way William spoke about the garbage thing. It immediately clicked in my mind that we need to have those cameras here in India who can capture people throwing garbage. So be careful, all of you.
Thank you, Vandana, for your kind words. To be honest, on VCTV, I've not only met fabulous people, great people like yourself, who are into investments, into startups, into entrepreneurship. I've also made good friends, and Vandana, you are one of them.
Thank
And
you.
I always love to have you on my shows because there is a connection that has been built over time, and
Yeah.
you know if you are not attending my shows, I feel a little bad. So yes, so that's definitely a family get together, as you rightly said. As we all know, it's a VCTV family time, family hour. And thank you so much, Vandana, for your always gracing us with your insights and your always being there for VCTV. Thank you so much again, William. Thank you, Vandana. William, over to you.
Yeah, so I know Vandana is going to invest in the next unicorn that catch people throwing garbage, right? And I think in India there'll be a lot. Right. Okay. Your question is, I think government have to be more proactive, especially on the infrastructure, because infrastructure is always an issue. Who's going to come up with the money? Because private sector will say, "Hey, I'm just one of the players. I can't be paying for the infrastructure," right? Just like roads, right? If you have not built the roads, who is going to build the roads, right? Developer will not say, "Hey, there's probably 10 different landowners." Okay, so Malaysian government is very creative.
Yeah.
Okay, so just recently they announced the SPV, okay, which is controlled by the government to execute or implement the 5G, and all the telco has to chip in. Okay,
Right.
so I'm sure they are still negotiating their terms and conditions, but this is the first time that our government is taking the initiative, okay, to make sure that the 5G infrastructure can be delivered. Right, so we hope to have that because so that we won't have any connection problem moving forward. But when the government does the infrastructure, right, the startup system or the business community will be more than willing to invest, okay, in their expanding their business, expanding their services, okay, and also to reach out to more communities, right? And regarding VCTV, I always enjoy Sony's moderating. So now I know she always moderate on 12 p.m. UK time. So I try to choose all the 12 p.m. And always pleasure to see Vandana and Harsh. Right? Thank you very much
We are in the
for having
same
me.
time zone. It's 8 p.m. Singapore and 8 p.m.
Yeah,
Malaysia.
yeah. But the invitation sent to me is 12 p.m. I mean 12 p.m.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
standard UK time we use. But yeah, always great to have you on these topics, which is very relevant to where you're working in the space. Thank you so much for your insights, William. Harsh?
Yeah. So definitely, right. Government is definitely has a lot of incentive in terms of promoting smart cities, right? I have a slightly different take on that. I see the government is also like a separate entity who has their own revenues, which are the taxes, right? So if the government creates smart cities, they could generate more tax revenue by creating much more opportunities for people, getting more people, uplifting them, where they kind of, they start transacting, they start making money, and that means more revenue for the government, right? So definitely creating smart cities definitely is extremely incentivized for the government as well. You just look at in the last 50 years, right? The entire women empowerment movement which started and the amount of growth which has stayed in the economy, right? We've created, just added a whole new section to the economy who are now, who can start buying stuff, who can create stuff, creating value to the economy in the last 50 years. And that has grown the economy leaps and bounds. And right, that has been the benefit, and the government has grown proportionately, right? The same will happen if we include these tier 3, tier 4 towns, which have till date not been an active part of the economy. And now, if we create smart cities over there, it will obviously increase the government revenues and the government coffers, right? So definitely, government has to actively work on, creating these smart cities, because tech is the huge largest enabler, right? We talk about the democratic system of the government, but it is the tech which is the true neutralizer and the true democratizer, where we have upcoming startups from founders which are 20, 22, 25 years of age, and they are creating these huge mammoth companies because of the power of technology, because the access to people has been simplified, the access to consumers, access to suppliers, everyone has been simplified. You look at, me and Vandana in India, we are connecting with you in Singapore and with William in Malaysia. We've connected with Gary in USA and Gianpaolo in UK, right? All the connections that we are building is because of the tech, because that's the huge neutralizer which is there. So definitely, I see a lot of incentive for the government to create these smart cities, create this infrastructure, because the more people participate within that, more economy grows, more they make out of the taxes. So it's definitely a completely symbiotic thing over there. So
And also
and as far as
creating jobs for the economy, right?
creating jobs for the economy, creating new employment opportunities, and people starting more businesses, and that will at the same time create more opportunities as well. So it's a complete cycle. It's
Yeah,
not like a standalone separate thing which operates in a silo. It's all merging together in a single solid fashion, right?
absolutely.
So that is the entire thing. And as far as VCT is concerned, I think William kind of gave out the secret, right? Everyone is trying to put out, blocking the reservations at 12 o'clock for your show. That is why I'm finding it hard to get my time on this show as well. He kind of gave out the secret. But one thing I'll notice, you look at about a month or two back, William used to be very shy in terms of participating in these discussions. Now he's having fun, he's laughing, he's really enjoying these shows as well. So really great to see that side of him as well.
It's a family hour, so he's become,
Exactly.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that is what I love about VCTV, right? Having you moderate there, we meet all these amazing people across the world who are doing amazing stuff. I think William hasn't even mentioned a half of what kind of work he's been doing right now with the SPAC and all the other things, right? And we obviously know how much work Gary's been doing. We have Karthik, we have Gianpaolo, and all the others. We have Tolga in US as well doing phenomenal work. So it's really amazing to get this opportunity to meet these amazing people doing some amazing work out there.
Likewise, I get to meet so many great people, great minds every day that, there's no way I can skip this 8 p.m., 12 p.m. UK session. So I tell my team, please, I mean, there's no way I can miss this session out. So yeah, so that's the beauty about VCTV. Again, not only for you, also for me, it's a therapy session. And I love being with all of you. It's become like a part of the family now. It's like a family hour, really, to be honest. And thank you so much for your sharing your insights. I'll be back tomorrow on another topic, and I hope to see you back again on another session. Until then, take care and stay safe, and see you again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.